last year. So last summer, not even a full year ago. This was in October of last year, so you can see it starting to grow. This was in January of this year. I know it's not really like a fair picture because I'm all covered up and bundled, but that's part of the story, right? Like I didn't know because I was wearing baggy clothes and it was winter and I was just like, oh, I'm eating more, whatever. This was in March. I'm wearing a baggy t-shirt, but you can still kind of see that it's getting bigger. This was in March, so this was actually the day that me and my boyfriend broke up, and I was like, oh, I'm super stressed, so I'm super bloated, and going out to eat all the time at all these different restaurants made me gain a bunch of belly fat. Incorrect, but that's how I justified it. And then this was in April whenever I posted that video and then started to find out, oh, something more is actually wrong. So, did I self-diagnose? Yes. Was I incorrect in thinking that I had diastasis recti? No. I had diastasis recti a few years ago, and I have it now. But I was incorrect in thinking that diastasis recti was the only issue that I was struggling with. Now, whenever I have my surgery and I get my ovarian cyst removed, I do expect to still have diastasis recti, but whenever I'm cleared for exercise, then I'm gonna start doing the deep core training workouts and the diastasis recti programs and all of that stuff to try to get my core strong enough to be able to lift heavy weights again and to do traditional ab workouts again. So hopefully that answers your questions. Let me know if you have any more, and if there's any videos that you want me to review, remember to tag me in them and I'll be happy to look at those.
Alright, buckle up, because this TikTok fitness drama just turned into something way deeper, and honestly, kind of heartbreaking. You know Meghan, right? The super energetic, ultra-positive fitness trainer with over 500,000 followers who's always hyping healthy eating, workouts, and feeling good in your skin?
Yeah,
Her. What started as a casual video about a little unexpected weight gain quickly spiraled into a full-on personal revelation that nobody saw coming. So here's the tea. Meghan posted a low-key video, no flashy edits or dramatic music, just her keeping it real about how her body had changed over a short period. She showed side-by-side pictures where her belly looked noticeably bigger, even though she was still hitting the gym and eating clean, like 90% whole foods and calorie counting. No junk food binges, no crazy lifestyle changes. She even confessed she got rid of her jeans because nothing fit anymore, switching to stretchy pants that totally masked how much her body was changing. Classic move, right? But it also meant she had no real gauge on her size until she tried to squeeze into some jean shorts from last year, and spoiler alert, they didn't button. Now here's where it gets juicy. Someone dropped a brutally honest comment on her TikTok, "You look pregnant." Harsh. Sure. But instead of ignoring it or throwing shade back like so many influencers might, Meghan paused. And honestly, that comment touched a nerve, because deep down, she'd been wondering the same thing but was scared to say it aloud. The comment wasn't mean-spirited, it was just honest. And that honesty pushed Meghan to get vulnerable with her followers. In her follow-up video, Meghan opened up about something way more serious than weight gain or bloat. She revealed she's been struggling with a condition called diastasis recti. For those who don't know, diastasis recti happens when the large abdominal muscles start to separate, most commonly after pregnancy, but it can also be triggered by other factors like intense core workouts done improperly, genetics, or even stress and poor posture. Meghan, who's never been pregnant, suspects it might be from a combo of bad posture during a brutal daily commute and lifting with bad form. She showed her followers the visible ridge down the middle of her stomach, a telltale sign of this condition, which she's been hiding for years. And get this, Meghan talked about how her 3-hour daily drive, sitting with bad posture and using a car seat pad for comfort, actually made things worse. This led to a rib flare, where ribs stick out oddly, which then contributed to the worsening of her diastasis recti. It was a domino effect, and she thought it was just normal body fat gain until the truth hit her. Meghan also shared some of the most raw, unfiltered photos of her at her lowest point. You could see how much her body had changed, but more importantly, you could feel how much stress and emotional pain she was carrying. She admitted she was so disconnected from her body that she avoided anything tight or revealing. Swimsuits? No way. She'd pile on oversized hoodies and baggy clothes just to cover up what she saw as a flaw she couldn't fix. And here's the kicker, this condition hasn't just affected how she looks. Meghan said it's completely taken over her confidence, her work, and her mental health. Every time she looks in the mirror, that ridge on her stomach is all she sees, no matter how fit or strong the rest of her is. It's like this one thing erased all the hard work she's put into her body. Despite all this, Meghan has been fighting back. She's started specialized workouts targeting diastasis recti and is opening up about her journey to educate others who might be struggling in silence. She even talked about competing in a recent fitness competition, proving she's still strong and capable, but the emotional scars remain. So what seemed like just another fitness update turned into a major wake-up call. Meghan's story reminds us that social media highlight reels rarely tell the full story, and sometimes what looks like a simple weight gain is actually a complicated, deeply personal health battle. Even though Meghan was a gym regular and a fitness pro, someone who should have felt confident and empowered in her space, the reality was far from it. Instead, her gym time only made her feel exposed and vulnerable. She literally built her entire wardrobe around hiding the changes in her body. As a trainer and nutrition coach, she felt like a total fraud. How could she stand in front of people, preaching self-love and fitness, when she couldn't even look at her own reflection without flinching? That contradiction weighed heavily on her, like a secret she desperately wanted to keep buried. Every time Meghan hit record to make a video, she smiled. Yes, those smiles were genuine, but underneath, she was performing, putting on a brave face she didn't really feel. Her videos were thick with emotion, her voice cracked, eyes welled up with tears, and you could hear the weight of her struggle in every word. She confessed to avoiding social events, dinners, birthdays, even simple coffee meetups with friends, because she was terrified of questions about her changing appearance. Looking back at photos, you can see the gradual transformation. There's a picture from last July, summer of the previous year, then October, and January, each showing her body slowly changing, though she was still bundled up in oversized clothes, hiding the truth from herself and others.
Without realizing it, and what I'm now doing instead. Just for reference, I gained 12 pounds of body fat since last year without even realizing it. That's crazy. And just in case anybody is tempted to take offense or say something like, you weren't even fat, like that's not fat, I don't want to hear it, okay? Because that was fat for me. It didn't feel good mentally, physically, emotionally. And by the way, I have no authority to criticize somebody else, but have every right to help the person that I used to be. So this is who that's for. So here we go. Number one, eating the same portion sizes as my boyfriend. And by far, the most effective solution that I found for this was to break up with him. I'm just kidding. We already broke up. That part's not a joke, but it does help with me not being tempted to eat the same size portions as somebody else. And I've also been eating 90% whole foods, and I've been tracking my calories, making sure that I'm in a calorie deficit. Number two, I stopped wearing jeans. I got rid of most of my jeans and I started wearing just like stretchy pants. That led me to have zero gauge of how much bigger I was actually getting until I tried to put on a pair of jean shorts from last year and they wouldn't button. So now I'm going to use that pair of jean shorts as like one of my gauges for progress. Number three, scrolling and rotting. I would just scroll on social media, sitting on the couch, letting, an hour, maybe two go by without moving. Are you joking? Being sedentary is one of the worst things you could do to your physical and mental health. So now I scroll and stroll. I take a walk outside and I get my steps in while I'm scrolling on social media. Or if it's dark, it's late at night, I'm going to be walking through my apartment while I'm scrolling on social media. If I'm going to scroll, I might as well stroll. And look at that, my watch just told me rundown of my diastasis recti journey, how I discovered it and everything. So right here on this first picture over here, it was in 2020. This was like during, shutdown or whatever, and I didn't have diastasis recti. I started working at a gym that was an hour and a half away. So I was driving an hour and a half every single day down there and an hour and a half back. So I was in a car 3 hours a day, and that's relevant because while I was driving, I also had this seat pad, like the car pad or whatever, that I thought was, making my ride more comfortable, but it ended up leading to me having rib flare because it was like my back was like arched for 3 hours a day, and I started developing rib flare and then started developing diastasis recti by lifting with bad form. And so this is the progression of the diastasis recti. This was about a year or a year and a half apart, maybe even 2 years, that went from this to this to this to this, and I thought I was just gaining body fat, and my diastasis recti was contributing to my stomach changing shape like this. So I came to the conclusion of diastasis recti because I did the 2-finger test and I felt the separation, and you can actually see it really well. This was not even a year ago where I took this picture, and you can see the separation between my abs, but I can feel it. And so I started doing diastasis recti core workouts. This is like the worst that I got, with my stomach being just completely rounded. There's no muscle definition, whatever. Like this, I was very, very stressed, mentally, physically, emotionally in this picture right here. So that's what I attributed that to. And then it went from this to whenever I started taking care of my mental, physical, emotional health, I was able to look like this. So I was like, oh, it was just bloating and body fat and stress. But then it went to this. So this is, I can't believe I'm sharing this picture. This is like the low point, you know what I mean? So if you're this far in the video though, be here to support. You're invested, be here to, provide value and love. Anyway, this is the day that me and my boyfriend broke up. I took this picture. I was like, okay, I'm stressed. I've been eating, so many more calories. I have just I've gone overboard with the food and the stress and whatever. And then it led to this. So I am not, it's not this bad, you know, right now. So it has gone down, like the bloating and the swelling and the whatever. So I was like, okay, I am getting better. But then you can see in this picture from my High Rocks competition, which I competed in this past weekend, and I'm very proud of my performance. And that's another thing, like I have energy and I'm strong and I'm healthy and all of that. So I didn't really think anything more could be going wrong.
By March, things hit a low point. She and her boyfriend had just broken up, and she blamed the weight gain on stress, constant dining out, and bloating. She told herself it was just extra belly fat, nothing more serious. But by April, after posting that heartfelt video, Meghan started realizing something else was going on. She self-diagnosed with diastasis recti, and while she was right that she had the condition, something she'd struggled with for years, it wasn't the whole story. She admitted she was wrong to think diastasis recti was the only issue. She expected to still have the condition after surgery to remove an ovarian cyst, but planned to start specialized core strengthening workouts once cleared to exercise, hoping to get back to heavy lifting and traditional ab workouts. And here's a big part of the story. Meghan began shutting down conversations when people casually asked if she was pregnant or about her family plans, not because they were being rude, but because she wasn't ready to explain. She didn't want to be seen like that, didn't want to talk about it. It wasn't pride holding her back, it was deep, crushing shame. Shame she didn't fully understand, but blamed herself for anyway. She revealed she'd been dealing with this condition since 2020, 5 long years of confusion, discomfort, and silent suffering. During that time, she threw herself into research, becoming almost obsessed. She watched endless YouTube videos, devoured health blogs, stayed up late scrolling through anonymous forums, desperately looking for stories like hers. She tried everything she found: exercises, diet tweaks, posture corrections, journaling, following postpartum fitness programs, hoping something would fix her. But nothing really did. And here's the kicker, she never once saw a doctor about it. Not a single appointment in 5 years. Everything she knew came from self-diagnosis and the internet. Deep down, she knew guessing wasn't enough, but fear held her back, the fear of what doctors might say, fear of medical bills, fear of being dismissed or misunderstood. A past bad experience with a dismissive doctor made her feel like she wasn't worth the care. So, she kept it all inside, trying to fix herself but quietly falling apart, day by day. Then, something incredible happened. Meghan's comment section exploded, not with the usual praise or trolls, but with genuine concern. Strangers who had been quietly following her journey started sharing thoughtful observations and suggestions. Many pointed out that her belly didn't look like typical diastasis recti. Some noted the unusual shape, the way it seemed more widespread than normal. One comment, in particular, stood out and quickly gained traction. A woman who had undergone surgical repair for diastasis recti and whose sister had an ovarian cyst syndrome urged Meghan to get additional testing. That comment wasn't accusatory or shaming. It came from a place of experience and empathy, offering Meghan a new perspective she hadn't considered. Instead of reacting defensively, Meghan did something admirable: she listened. In her next video, she thanked her followers sincerely and admitted she had never even had her ovaries checked. She didn't know what an ovarian cyst felt like, or what symptoms to look for. That honesty opened the floodgates. What followed was beautiful. Followers from all over started sharing clinics, resources, personal stories, and advice. They weren't just offering tips, they were creating a community. Meghan realized she wasn't alone. She didn't have to face this terrifying unknown on her own anymore. What began as a vulnerable post transformed into a pivotal turning point in her life. Finally, Meghan revealed she hadn't seen a doctor in 7 years, not even for a basic checkup. This wasn't because she didn't care, but because she had built a fortress of fear and mistrust around the healthcare system. Her story is a powerful reminder of how deep-seated fears can keep even the strongest among us from seeking help, and how sometimes, opening up can lead to healing in ways we never imagined. Wall's strength was forged in pain. Years ago, she had an encounter with a dismissive doctor, an experience that left her feeling small, unseen, and invalidated. That moment planted a seed of self-doubt, one that eventually convinced her it was safer to handle everything on her own.
Hospital to get my ultrasound and do all of my pre-op testing, and I'm going to take you along with me. Hopefully they will give me some ultrasound pictures so that we can see Sisterella in all of her glory. The watermelon cyst. Got her twin right here. We're all packed up and ready to go, so let's do it. Guys, I just got my ultrasound. They did the topical one and then like the invasive one. I don't know if that's what it's called, but it went really well. I had to pay for the ultrasound visit before I actually went back there, but they gave me a 75% discount, so it went from being over $1,300 to being $340. And so I was just like, oh, thank God, like I paid for it right then, and went back and did my ultrasound. The ultrasound went great. They did the like on top of my belly one and the like invasive one with the stick. That makes it sound terrible. It really wasn't bad at all. And you could see the big old, you can see Sisterella in there. It was just like a big black spot, but they wouldn't let me take videos of it. But you can definitely see it, and I'm gonna ask my doctor for the pictures or videos later. But whenever I was leaving, they called me over to back to the desk, and they said, hey, your payment was canceled. And I was like, what? Like, oh, like, I'm sorry, like I thought maybe it got denied or something. And she was like, your payment was canceled. I sent you a refund because FA came through and said that it's 100% paid for. So she refunded it, and I looked at my email, and it's all 100% paid for. Everything at this hospital. Out of the hospital, my brother came. He brought my little stuffed animal from when I was a little girl, and it almost made me cry. So I did a bunch of blood work. They took so much blood, and I hate needles, so that was fun. And they did a CT scan, and this is what they found. So it says I have a massive cystic mass extending from the left upper quadrant to the floor of the pelvis, measuring up to 48 centimeters. Somebody convert that to inches for me. It says this is most likely ovarian in origin with differential including a serious cystadenoma. Gynecologic consultation recommended. Mild right hydronephrosis, no definite free fluid. So it is an ovarian cyst. Apparently it's massive, and yeah, that's the results. The next step is to go to the gynecologist. They're gonna do some more stuff. They took some blood work that they're gonna send off to make sure that it's not cancerous, and we'll just take it from there. So yeah, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for your support and your concern. It really means so much to me.
Add to that the reality of having no health insurance, no financial safety net, and zero savings for emergencies. And even walking into a clinic felt like a risk she couldn't afford to take. So Meghan turned to the only resource she could afford, the internet. She Googled everything, every symptom, every theory, every possible solution. It was cheaper, easier, less terrifying. Because at least Google wouldn't judge her. Google wouldn't hand her a $500 bill for a 5-minute consult. She built a version of support out of blog posts, YouTube videos, and anonymous forums. And for a while, that worked until it didn't. When strangers on TikTok started commenting with concern, practically begging her to get checked out, something shifted. These weren't trolls or random haters. These were real people who genuinely cared. And their compassion cracked through her fear. So Meghan made a decision. For the first time in a long time, she chose herself. She realized she couldn't wait any longer, not with the signs piling up, not with thoughtful strangers pointing them out. Within 3 days, she pushed past the fear and walked into the And just like that, her mindset flipped. This wasn't about pride anymore. Or about being strong, or independent, or self-sufficient. This was about survival. About being alive in 5 years. And maybe, just maybe, finally being heard. And she was. Okay, guys, she said in her vlog. I'm heading to the hospital to get my ultrasound and do all the pre-op testing. I'm bringing y'all with me. Hopefully they give me some ultrasound pics so we can see Sella in all her glory. My little watermelon babies got a twin in there too. At the clinic, Meghan had to pay up front for the ultrasound. Originally, it cost over $1,300, but they gave her a 75% discount, bringing it down to $340, still a lot, but manageable. She was relieved and went through with both the abdominal and transvaginal scans. They wouldn't let me film, she said, but you could definitely see it. Sella showed up like a big black shadow, and then came a surprise day as she was leaving. The front desk called her back. They told me my payment had been canceled, she said. I panicked. I thought something went wrong. But then they said it was fully covered. FA came through and paid for everything. I even got a refund. I couldn't believe it. I checked my email, and it was true. Everything at the hospital was 100% covered, but nothing could have prepared her for the results. What doctors found wasn't just a small cyst. It was a massive cystic tumor measuring 48 centimeters long, nearly 19 inches. It extended from the upper left of her abdomen all the way down to her pelvic floor. The official diagnosis? A serous cystadenoma, a large, non-cancerous growth that developed from the surface of her ovary. Although not malignant, its size and position were dangerous. It had started pressing against nearby organs, displacing her intestines, and even impairing her kidney function. This led to a condition called hydronephrosis, where fluid builds up in the kidney due to pressure or blockage. This couldn't wait. Surgery was no longer an option. It was a necessity. After a CT scan and several rounds of blood work, which Meghan joked she hated because she really doesn't like needles, her next step was to meet with a gynecologist and confirm the treatment plan. It's wild, she said. The cyst was literally the size of a beach ball. They said it weighed around 30 pounds. That's like carrying a toddler around in your stomach 24/7. And I didn't even feel sharp pain, just constant discomfort, like bloating that never went away. I thought it was just my body, or genetics, or fat. But it wasn't. What people had dismissed for years as just belly weight turned out to be a condition that could have caused serious long-term damage. And the hardest part? Meghan had been living with it silently, unknowingly, for years. When she opened up about her diagnosis online, her followers flooded her comments with love, encouragement, and one common suggestion: start a GoFundMe. People wanted to help. They wanted to donate. But Meghan was hesitant. I just couldn't bring myself to ask for money, she explained. You guys have already helped me so much, by watching, by commenting, by being here. I've made about $500 just from this past week's videos. And honestly, that means the world. She shared that she was getting support from brand deals too, enough to help pay rent and keep things stable for now.
So sweet. I've seen this comment multiple times, start a GoFundMe, and I just can't. I can't ask you guys for money. You have already helped me so much by just being here and giving your love and your support and liking the videos and commenting, and I actually do make money from you guys watching the videos and leaving comments. So for the past week, the videos that I've shared just throughout this journey, I've made about $500, which is amazing. So, you don't even have to spend your money for it to help me out. So other ways though that I do make money is like I have a couple of brand deals. All right, I have one that's like it helps me pay my rent. So if you see a random video, which I will be posting next, about nutrition that has nothing to do with what's going on right now, just understand that whenever life gets crazy, the bills don't stop coming. So I'm gonna keep posting for those brand deals, and just understand that that's what that is. So other ways that you guys can help though is like if you're already gonna buy something from Amazon, and you can go through my Amazon link that's linked on my website. You don't have to buy anything from my Amazon, but if you just go to Amazon from my link, it will give me a small percentage of whatever it is that you spend. So I'm not telling you to go spend money on Amazon. Like if you're already gonna do that, then there's a way that you can help me out. Also, I do have programs and stuff like nutrition programs, meal plans that are like high protein, gut healthy, whole foods, recipes and stuff like that, along with diastasis recti programs that I made. Like I said, I figured out everything about diastasis recti that I possibly could, and it's helped people. It, didn't help me 100% because that's not what my issue was. Apparently, diastasis recti was a symptom and not the cause of everything that was happening to me. But I know that now. But I did spend the last 4 years learning everything I could about diastasis recti and putting it into those programs. So if you've ever wanted to buy any of those programs, then now would be a convenient time, But yeah, I can't ask you guys for money. You're already helping me so much. But thank you so much for being here. I love you guys.
So if you see a random video coming up about nutrition or workouts, she laughed, just know that's part of how I keep going. Instead of crowdfunding, Meghan offered something in return: meal plans and fitness programs she'd already created. That way, anyone who wanted to support her could do so while getting something helpful in exchange. Life doesn't wait for anyone. Bills keep stacking up, responsibilities don't pause, and that's why I'm still creating content, still chasing brand deals. Not because everything's perfect, but because that's how I stay afloat right now. And if you've ever wondered how to support me beyond just watching, there are ways. For example, if you're already planning to buy something from Amazon, heading there through the link on my website sends a small commission my way. You don't even need to buy anything I've recommended, just entering through my link helps. I've also put together a few nutrition and wellness programs, recipes, meal plans, and resources for gut health and high-protein meals, and even some dedicated to healing diastasis recti. That's something I poured years into learning, not just for myself, but for anyone else navigating that recovery journey. But let me be real, I've never wanted to ask anyone for help. I've always been more comfortable giving than receiving. Still, that didn't stop you. The messages kept rolling in. Support poured out from strangers who became a community. One comment stayed with me: "Don't take away the chance for us to help you. Let us be part of this." That one sentence changed something in me. So, I finally gave in and created a GoFundMe. But I promised myself, I wouldn't beg, I wouldn't guilt anyone, I'd just be honest, vulnerable, and grateful. And that's what I did. I kept posting updates. Not to push people to donate, but to share the journey, every appointment, every emotion, every bit of progress. Then, something I never expected happened. After a pre-op scan, I was gathering my things to leave when the front desk called me back. I immediately assumed something was wrong, maybe a billing issue or another unexpected cost. My stomach dropped. But instead, they said the words I'll never forget: "Your financial aid was approved. Everything is fully covered. Every single cost. The surgery. The scans. Recovery. All of it." I stood there frozen, trying to process it. And then I cried. Right there. Years of fear, stress, and guilt all came crashing out in that moment. I had convinced myself I wasn't worthy of help, but this reminded me I was. They removed a 27-pound cyst from my abdomen. The size of it? Massive. My belly dropped from 36 inches to 31. One ovary was removed, but the other was healthy. I could still have kids. And now, I'm healing, day by day. Some mornings feel normal, some are harder. But I'm no longer hiding in oversized clothes or forcing smiles. I'm learning to accept my body as it is. I'm walking forward with more strength and more softness than I've ever known. This whole journey began with one comment. Just a few words that could have shut me down but instead cracked something open. Because I chose to listen. To pause, not react. To share, not isolate. And that choice brought me here. The internet, this unpredictable, chaotic place, gave me something I didn't expect: a digital family. Not just viewers or followers, but real people who showed up with kindness and care. So, let me ask you this: if someone left a comment about your health, would you ignore it? Or would you take a closer look, like I did? Let me know in the comments. Tell me your story. Tap like, hit subscribe, and thank you, truly, for being part of mine.